Hello everybody and welcome to the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the 2005 Bass Pro Shops MBNA 500 and the round of 8 opener in our 2005 NR2003 season, where Jeff Gordon starts on the pole position alongside Carl Edwards as we get ready to begin this race. Of course, round of 12 just completed at Talladega last time out. Now here we are in Atlanta, where earlier this season it was Brian Vickers who ended up running his first win of the season in that race. Since then has gone on to win 4 times and is all the way here in the round of 8, still in contention for the championship as we're green and underway here in Atlanta. Who is going to find their way into victory lane? Jeff Gordon leads us off into turn 1 for the first time here in this crucial race in the playoffs. Dale Earnhardt Jr. just eliminated from championship contention. Right back there, 3 wide for second with Matt Kenseth and Carl Edwards, who backs out of it and falls down to the 7th or 8th position, really tanking back in the outside lane. But here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. taking the lead on the outside lane. The Budweiser number 8, Dale Jr. the lead here at Atlanta, goes by Jeff Gordon on the outside lane. Kenseth there behind him trying to find a way by Mark Martin, Jamie McMurray following in line as they try to make their way into the race lead, but it is still Jeff Gordon leading early, now back ahead of Dale Jr. here in Atlanta, as Jeff Gordon, who's been average in these playoffs, has had a tough year but has still kept his hopes alive all the way to the round of 8, but he's now been passed for the lead by Mark Martin on lap 17, and the veteran Martin takes the race lead, but now his teammate Carl Edwards going to hit him the crossover, the rookie, and the number 99 Office Depot Ford. Carl Edwards barely squeezes by the lap car of the 66. Edwards to the lead here in Atlanta. Started on the front row, fell back early, and is now charged all the way back to the front. Edwards out front here in stage 1, now lap 29. Rusty Wallace in the 2 is getting lapped here in Atlanta. Huge playoff implications. Of course, Rusty made it all the way here to the round of 8, but has fallen a lap down in the first 30 laps, and a caution has come out later in the race as Brian Vickers has gone crashing into turn 2 with Ken Schrader. Yellow is out, and our first playoff driver to have major issues is Brian Vickers crashing into turn 2. The 4-time winner this season, won this race in the spring, now on the back foot. The rest of this race is Edwards leading us back to the green. Back here we got 3-4 guys phasing together. Kyle Petty, Mike Bliss, big contact. Heavy damage to both of those cars. Bliss and Petty way off the pace. Damage to both of their cars. Now on the apron, trying to stay out of the way of the field as we stay green. Going to completely ruin their races. Going to knock Mike Bliss out of this race. Kyle Petty will be damaged a few laps down. And now Roush Racing's going 3 wide for the lead. Here in Atlanta, it is Edwards, Kenseth, and Mark Martin. What a battle we are witnessing between the Roush teammates here. Kenseth all the way on the outside lane. Going to have to back out of it. Edwards and Martin now side by side. Dead even at the line that time by on lap 39. Is Mark Martin pulling ahead of Carl Edwards now for the race lead. Can he get the job done on the inside lane? Not quite. Edwards hanging tough on the outside lane. Him and Mark Martin putting on a show at the front of this field as they scrap it out for the race lead. As Jeff Gordon goes 3 wide for third. Behind them, looks like Mark Martin's going to secure the position, and he will. Martin going to clear Carl out of turn 4, and Mark Martin takes the lead here in Atlanta. But on lap 44, Carl Edwards, the crossover move to the inside lane, looking for his second win of his rookie campaign, trying to match Kyle Busch in this intense Rookie of the Year battle. Of course, Carl Edwards won at Kansas in the spring to get his first career win. Since then has had a lot of opportunities where he's come close, but has just fallen short, and this is his best opportunity yet here in Atlanta, out to the early lead on lap 45, and Kyle Petty is destroyed as Dave Blaney went spinning to the outside wall, came down the track and got hit by Kyle Petty, and Jimmy Johnson in the 48 is involved. Massive playoff implications for one of the championship favorites. Jimmy Johnson, heavy damage, completely destroyed as the 48 car, smoke trailing out the end of that car. And Jimmy Johnson is our first playoff driver to DNF in the round of 8. He will do so here in Atlanta after a shocking crash where he had nowhere to go. Johnson out in 39th, and the 48 now going to be a tough fight for Jimmy to make it to the championship for a Homestead, but we'll see if he can pull it off. He made it last year. He's got to now come back from what's probably going to be a sizable hole the next 2 races at Martinsville and Phoenix, as it is Greg Biffle on the restart in the 16. Of course, won couple of 2 races ago in Charlotte. Now leading once again here in Atlanta. Just took the lead from his teammate of Carl Edwards. Has been Roush Racing versus Jeff Gordon. pretty much all night long. Continues to do so as Carl Edwards now swings to the inside of Greg Biffle. Here comes the 99 once again. Edwards seeming to have the fastest car in the field tonight, and that number 99 Ford trying to catch fire here late in the playoffs, as now Jeff Gordon's gotten back around Carl Edwards for the race lead on lap 60 as Gordon tries to bring home what would be a massive stage win for his playoff hopes. A caution has come out. Big wreck. That's Vickers involved, and he gets drilled by Scott Wimmer. Reed Sorensen as Elliott Souther bounces in the middle of the corner. For some reason, hits a bump and goes crashing into Matt Kenseth, who just cannot catch a break in this playoffs, and he gets a head-on impact. Ricky Rudd to Elliott Souther, vicious crash, then Vickers slams in the back of Kenseth, and then gets drilled by Scott Wimmer. Carl Long, Reed Sorensen pile in the 39. The 66 piles in. Schrader's in it. Bobby Hamilton, LePage, a huge wreck here at Atlanta. Going to make Brian Vickers our second playoff DNF of the day. He will join his teammate Jimmy Johnson in the garage in a rough start to the day for Hendrick Motorsports, for everybody not named Jeff Gordon, who's up here fighting for the lead with Carl Edwards. Kyle Busch is actually doing pretty well. He's back in 7th place right now. He just made the pass for 6 on Denny Hamlin, but Vickers is out. Johnson is out. See the other long list of guys out of the race. Kenseth got knocked out from that. Sorensen, Elliott Sadler, Ricky Rudd. There's a whole bunch of guys knocked out, and that will really put them in a tough spot the rest of the way here. But now Jeff Gordon leading, trying to steal himself a stage win here in Atlanta, leading with about a little under 30 to go on the stage. But Carl Edwards is now taking the lead back from Jeff Gordon on the lap number 89. This is with just 3 to go on this stage, but Edwards goes too high in 3 and 4, opens the door for Jeff Gordon, who takes advantage, and Jeff Gordon takes the lead here in Atlanta, pushing the drive for 5. Now on to the last lap of stage 1. Gordon still out front, catching up to the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield here, who's trying to hang on to the last spot on the lead lap, which he will, as Jeff Gordon, a massive stage win here in Atlanta. Mark Martin second, Edwards third, 4th place McMurray. Biffle will end up in 5th. Then it is Junior, Kyle Busch, Sterling Marlin, Harvick, and Dale Jarrett, the top 10. So Kyle Busch and Jeff Gordon, the 2 playoff drivers, earning stage points for their cause. Jeff Gordon, though, getting a massive stage win. Came into this round 8th out of 8. A significant ways below the cut line, but the day he is having today, that might change as Edwards now takes the lead from Jeff Gordon on the inside lane with a blinding restart. Carl Edwards to the front here in Atlanta on lap 98, but now cautions come out. Mark Martin is destroyed with Rusty Wallace and Jamie McMurray. Dale Jr. with heavy damage as well. We just missed it, but a huge crash with massive implications in the turn 1 is going to take out Rusty Wallace, a championship contender. Mark Martin, who can't catch a break either in these playoffs, just like his teammate Kenseth, who is so fast today. Junior, who had a really strong top 5 car, he wrecks out as well. McMurray was also top 3, top 5 all night. He is wrecked out, and a shocking turn of events here in stage 2 at Atlanta. Now on the last lap of the stage, Greg Biffle in 3rd place, barely hanging on to the lead lap as Carl Edwards comes through to win his 3rd stage of the season. Edwards wins stage 2 here in Atlanta. Tony Stewart will be 2 laps down in 10th place. Here comes Jeff Burton, a lap down in 4th, followed by Casey Kane in 5th, Kyle Busch in 6th. Then you have Newman in 7th, but here comes Jeff Gordon coming across in 2nd on the lead lap. Then Newman in 7th, Michael Waltrip in 8th. Dale Jarrett will end up 9th. Biffle, of course, 3rd, back in the lead lap. Edwards wins stage 2 after Gordon takes stage 1 in Atlanta. Now you get back underway here on the restart. Give me lap 207, 120 to go, and Carl Edwards gets absolutely freight trained on the restart by the outside lane, who is catching up. Just didn't lift and slingshotted the entirety of the inside lane, getting Jeff Gordon back into the race lead here in Atlanta. Now the 24 in position to possibly clinch his way to Homestead to fight for his 5th NASCAR Cup Series championship, which would be unbelievable. Jeff Gordon trying to continue to improve upon the Legends list here. Behind him, how about this? Here comes Kyle Busch in the 5, trying to lap himself and get back in contention, having a strong top 5 day. It's not too crazy to say Kyle Busch might find himself in the championship 4. But Greg Biffle is now taking the lead from Jeff Gordon, and Carl Edwards, by the way, just unlapped himself after hitting on the restart, so I don't know what's going on there with Carl Edwards. A few laps later now, Jeff Gordon's taking the lead back from the 16 of Greg Biffle, but Carl Edwards, I believe, is coming down pit road as he's nowhere to be found on the racetrack. He was the dominant car of the night, but something going awry on the 99 machine here in this final stage with 96 laps to go. Yeah, Edwards is on pit road, and he's got damage. The 99 Edwards, involved in an accident, takes himself out of contention. A shocking turn of events for arguably the fastest car tonight. Carl Edwards, heavily damaged, now out of contention for the win, has now come down to Greg Biffle and Jeff Gordon. These last 90 laps, the last two cars on the lead lap. Kyle Busch trying to unlap himself as well as a bunch of other cars. Has only two cars on the lead lap is crazy, but that's the situation we are in here in Atlanta as Greg Biffle leads, trying to get 2 wins since being eliminated from championship contention, proving why if he just would have advanced to round of 16, Biffle could well be on his way to the final 4. And a shot at title, and Kurt Busch is destroyed. More playoff implications. A 97 of Kurt Busch and Denny Hamlin have crashed into turn 1. A massive incident. Kurt Busch out of this race, the 4th playoff driver to wreck out, joining Rusty Wallace, Ryan Vickers, and Jimmy Johnson in the garage, leaving just Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, and Ryan Newman, the playoff drivers in this race. Kurt Busch ends up finishing in the 23rd position. Rusty Wallace ended up 29th. Vickers was like 32nd, 33rd, and Johnson was 39th. So a lot of guys, a lot of playoff drivers having issues here in this playoff round of 8 opener. So a chaotic way to start this crucial round of the playoffs as Jeff Gordon, it is all falling into his hands tonight as Gordon leads the way here with just a little over 75 to go in Atlanta. Now he's on pit road for scheduled green flag pit stops on lap 271. So Gordon comes down pit road. Greg Biffle now, of course, inherits the race lead. Now 4 laps later, Biffle is in for his stop with 50 to go. Biffle comes in, and now they'll actually cycle it out to be the 5 of Kyle Busch, the rookie, having an unbelievable playoff run. Cycles out to the lead. A caution came out while he was just about hitting pit road. So now your restart here. It's going to be about a little under 40 laps to go in this race. Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, both on the lead lap in the front row in contention, as well as the 2 cars behind them. Greg Biffle and Michael Waltrip in the 15 for DEI has found his way in the mix for a win here late in what's been a tough year for him. But how about this? Kyle Busch taking the lead here in Atlanta, trying to clinch a championship 4 berth in his rookie season. We have never seen this before. Could it happen tonight? And not, maybe not. Kyle Busch has been passed. Jeff Gordon now leading here with just 32 laps to go. But here comes Michael Waltrip on the inside. Mikey is going in the lead. Michael Waltrip trying to pull off the upset of the season here at Daytona to steal this one. But no, he has fallen back here at Atlanta. He's been passed as Greg Biffle is now driven back into the race lead. But Jeff Gordon's right there in second, and the battle is on with just 28 laps to go. It is Jeff Gordon and Greg Biffle splitting Carl Edwards, who cost his teammate the lead. Carl Edwards just blocked Greg Biffle and gave the lead to Jeff Gordon. But now Biffle has taken the lead back here with just 7 to go, coming to 6 to go this time by. Biffle is leading, but Jeff Gordon right on his back bumper as they approach Jeff Green. This might be one of those all-time classic Atlanta finishes. Will it be? Jeff Gordon's been part of these before. He's trying to catch up to Greg Biffle, but Biffle, a strong 1 and 2, will hold the race lead and have a slight gap over Gordon with just 6 to go here in Atlanta. Now white flag in the air, final lap, presented by Credit One Bank for Greg Biffle. He is driven away to a near 2-second advantage over Jeff Gordon. It just doesn't look like it's in the cards for the 24 to clinch his spot today, but he, regardless, is having a phenomenal points day. Kyle Busch back there in third, between 3 and 4 for the final time. Playoff spoiler is going to be the role Greg Biffle is going to play once again. Greg Biffle is going to win at Atlanta, spoiling the playoffs for the 2nd time in the last 3 weeks. Jeff Gordon 2nd, Kyle Busch 3rd, Michael Waltrip 4th, Stewart ends up 9th, Jarrett there was 5th, Jeff Burton 6th, followed by Joe Nemechek in 7th, and Kevin Harvick in 8th. Casey Kane rounds out your top 10, 2 laps down. But Greg Biffle gets his 4th win of the 2005 campaign. But unfortunately for him, he is not in contention for the championship, or else this would have put him to the championship for arguably his best racetrack in Homestead Miami Speedway. where he could become your champion. But no, he's a first-round exit in shocking fashion. Sensen Biffle has won in each of the following 2 rounds. There are the final race results on the left side of your screen. Now the updated playoff grid in a few short moments. Now the updated playoff grid, of course, Phoenix and Martinsville, the last 2 races remaining in this dramatic round of 8, with Tony Stewart, the number 1 seed, still sitting pretty comfortably at the top of the board, 37 above the cut line. Just as long as he doesn't have a terrible race, he should be okay. Then Jeff Gordon sits solidly 22 points above the cut line after a phenomenal point state, jumps from 8th to 2nd. Then Ryan Newman still in 3rd, 19 above the cut line. How about Kyle Busch, the rookie? 18 points above the cut line, trying to pull off a crazy feat, making the Final 4 in his rookie year. Kurt Busch below by 18, got to unseat his brother. And then Jimmy Johnson, one of the favorites for this title, 26 points below the cut line. Vickers out by 28. Rusty Wallace almost must win at 37 out. Going to be a crazy end to this round of 8. We'll see what happens next time out. And of course, before we end the episode, as always, I want to give a shout out to my channel members. So thank you very much to Brandon Breen and Jeremy Isley for your support. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me and helps me and this channel continue to grow and do great things on our road to 1,000 subscribers. Of course, those of you that are watching and are not subscribed already, please subscribe. It only takes 2 seconds, doesn't cost anything, and I would really appreciate it. If you want to become a channel member, the join button or the link in the description down below is where you'll find that information. And until the next episode, I hope you all have a good one.